Hello, bonsoir. Bonsoir Twitter, bonsoir Facebook, bonsoir YouTube. Salut tout le monde qui branché. Bonsoir encore une fois. Non, moi c'est Marjorie Kola. Moi c'est CEO and founder of Kola Leadership Development, LLC, and also content creator for this platform. Welcome to another episode of Unleash Your Potential. Bienvenue sur Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Bonsoir, bien content que nous là avec moi encore jeudi pour une autre émission de Unleash Your Potential. Nous, moi, c'est Marjorie Kola. Moi, c'est CEO and founder pour Kola Leadership Development LLC. Moi, c'est un content creator too. So, leadership development. Jeudi, nous rencontrons encore pour un autre épisode Unleash Your Potential. Et topic nous pour jeudi, c'est Kijan pour overcome barriers. How do you overcome barriers? Voilà, afficher topic là pour aujourd'hui. Kijan pour overcome barriers, Kijan pour gérer difficultés et pour continuer à avancer, pour continuer à faire succès. Tant qu'on nous connaît dans la vie, a toujours gagné des hauts, a toujours gagné des bas. Il y a des moments où on gagné succès, où on peut avancer sans problème. Il y a des moments où on joue une difficulté qui peut permettre pour faire chita, pour faire poser. Mais le nous rencontrer des difficultés comme ça, nous pas capable chita net, n'est-ce pas? Nous obligés à avancer, continuer à avancer. So, je dis un sujet, ça c'est un sujet qui est très important. Avant de commencer comme d'habitude, moi je vais prendre une minute tout de suite pour moi capable de dire merci, thank you to my sponsor, SSWETV, specifically Mr. Andy Paul, who has produce my shows and also allow me to broadcast on the platform SSWETV. Thank you. I also would like to thank the Cola Leadership Development LLC team for your support and guidance as we continue on this journey. I also want to remind you that Unleash Potential is a class that I currently offer via the Cola Leadership Development. If you go to the website, www.colasleadershipdevelopment.com, you will be able to learn about my class. This is a great leadership class that offers great development, guidance, and support on how to move forward with your life, with your journey, with your business. I'll give you a quick example. The last group of student or participant I had someone who was looking for advice and guidance to return to school to pursue a master's degree. We were able to work with her and help her develop that skill set and also time management skills and everything. And she was able to go and enroll for school. While I also had somebody else who currently works for corporate America, but is working on starting his own business, which is amazing. We want more people in our community to open business and develop in that aspect. And we help them to do that as well. The Unleash Potential course is a 6-week module that provide one-on-one training, group sessions, guest speakers, a lot of activities, a lot of writing, a lot of reading, because you are reading to develop skill sets and assess current situation to be able to move forward. So the module starts from discovering your true self to identifying your barriers and your challenges to preparing your mindset for success, unleashing your potentials, and creating the dream that you desire. So regardless of who you are and what type of guidance you're looking for, Unleash Potential is a great course that will help you not only map out what you want to do in the future, but also give you great resources to do that. Once you have become part of that group, you are becoming part of our VIP coaching group on Facebook. And also there is a WhatsApp group with that where you receive monthly guest speaker sessions. You also receive continued coaching. Once you are done with the course, you don't have to give up completely. We continue to coach you and give you guidance to help you through the development process. So Unleash Your Potential is a great course that I would definitely ask you to go to the website and take a look at it. So now we have thank our sponsors. Let's start. On entre d'emblée dans topic jodi an. How do you overcome barriers and succeed? Kijan pour gérer difficultés et continuer pour avancer dans la vie. When we hear about barriers, we may have different type of definitions for them. Some may call it challenges, some may call it obstacles, some may call it barriers. Whatever it is that you call it, a barrier is something that prevents you from moving forward from where you started. If I can take a quick example, let's say, for instance, you are a business owner, you have your business, and suddenly coronavirus happened, right? Where everything stopped, you are not able to continue your business. Or if you are continuing your business, you have to look at a different way to sell your product or to offer your product to the public. That's a major barrier. That's a big setback. As you can see, some companies were able to continue their business based on what type of product or service they were offering. If you are in the hospitality industry, the tourism industry, the entertainment industry, this barrier was a lot more difficult to manage because those companies literally had to stop. They couldn't move forward right away. They had to go through and think about it. And during that time, a lot of people lost their jobs. Some people are still on furlough. That's a major barrier that impacted their business. Son setback qui vraiment take business yo qui cause un pile problème, un pile d'éléments pour yo, right? However, if you are a grocery store, if you're in the business of selling food, if you are an Amazon who sells product, this barrier impacted them, but it impacted them at a different level. If anything, the challenge that the coronavirus barrier affected those business with was a demand. There was a surplus in demand. So there were a lot more demand for food. So Amazon had to go and hire hundreds of drivers to help them to deliver their packages because we rely on Amazon to deliver the support for us. So it depends on who you are. Barriers can have different impact on you and on your business. So I always want to take examples that my audience can relate to. Let's say, for instance, you are one of those people who worked for the hospitality industry. If you work for a hotel, if you work for the cruise line, basically you're probably still at home, not having a job yet. So this barrier or this setback, we call it an external setback. It is an external setback because it's something that happened that you personally had no power over. You had no control. There is no control. Nothing you could have personally done to really help you get ready for this virus that impacted us. So it's an external impact. So once you get hit with an external impact, you then have to really analyze and try to understand how do you move forward in a way that will first support you and of course support your family. So when you hear the word setback or the word barrier, the first thing is to identify what type of barriers are we talking about, right? So there are multiple types of barriers. It could be a communication barrier. It could be a listening barrier. It could be a major disaster barrier. It could be a school issue barrier. So currently, for those of you, if you have kids, if you're a parent, you have kids going to school, but they're going to school online. Well, today I did not broadcast at 2 p.m. because I had a barrier, a setback. And the setback was my son is doing school from home. And when it was time to leave him, he told me, Mommy, I need your help. You cannot leave me because this is not going the right way. And I felt bad. I said, I'm sorry, honey, I'm going to stay with you. So I pushed my life from 2 to 3 p.m. That's an external barrier that impacted me because I was planning on being with you all at 2 p.m. So now what I said to myself is I already know what the setback is. Instead of doing a 2 p.m. live during school time, right? I'm gonna have to push my lives to 3 p.m. because at 3 p.m. he's done with school. So I am able to not only identify my barrier, but I am also able to take quick actions, right, to help me so I can be there for my son and also be there for you all. So that's an example of a barrier. So the first thing in managing or overcoming a barrier or a setback is to first identify what type of barrier are we talking about. When we are identifying the barrier, there are a few things that must be done. You have to be honest with yourself that the moment you are able to identify your barrier, you are going to be addressing the issue at hand if you have the possibility of doing so 100%. So we talked about the internal and the external type. An internal barrier is a barrier that we possibly are imposing on ourselves. So, an internal barrier can be anything like procrastinating. If you have a plan, if you have a deadline, if you have a schedule to do something and we don't do it on time, we are causing our own barriers because we are procrastinating. So it's a lack of scheduling, it's a lack of planning, it's a lack of discipline that causes this particular barrier. So it is not something that is hard to do because once it's internal, you control it, you can quickly manage and resolve that barrier. Another another internal barrier could very well be, excuse me, I'm looking at my note here quickly. Another type of internal barrier could very well be financial responsibility. That's a barrier that is could be both internal and external. The internal part is when we are not able to properly manage our financials, when we don't have enough discipline to create a budget for ourselves, where we know how much we are going to be spending and how much we are going to be saving. So the lack of responsibility and managing of financials could definitely be a big breakdown. So le yon moun pa konen ki jan pou li manage finance li bien, sa son barrière ou bien yon kontraryete personnel, internal, que nous créons, nous capables de gérer bien. Right? Ça, c'est un exemple de type de barrière qui est internal. C'est nous-mêmes qui sommes responsables pour lui. Yon lot type de barrière que nous capables de créer peut-être nous tout, c'est le nous pas attendre ou bien le nous pas arrêter sous yon horaire, yon schedule que nous te créé peut-être nous. Si vous dites demain si je veux, ou bien un appointment docteur, faut qu'on aller pour aller dans l'appointment docteur là. Si nous fait négligence, nous pas aller, OK? Ça c'est une barrière que nous créons peut-être pas nous à cause que nous pas gain discipline suffisamment pour nous faire ça. Son bagage qu'on capable gérer rapidement pour aider gérer genre de setback ça, genre de difficulté ça. Il y a un autre exemple encore que moi vais utiliser parce que je pense qu'il est très bon pour nous. On a parlé de barrière internal, il y a une barrière que nous-mêmes nous créons, capable bien pour tout avec distraction. Distractions is probably one of the most impactful setbacks that we create for ourselves because when you are easily distracted, you have the ability to do more, but our lack of focus allow us to be distracted and therefore can cause a delay in the way we do things. So, distraction, c'est une setback que nous créons peut-être nous en pile, parce que l'homme qui te n'importe quoi fait les détourner de ça d'avoir fait, il doit arriver dans un point côté que il n'est pas capable de continuer avec le projet, tout simplement parce qu'il n'a pas de discipline assez suffisamment pour lui capable de continuer à l'heure ou bien à point dans ça la faire. So ça c'est le genre de type de barrière qui gagne qui est capable de cause nous faire retard dans un projet ou bien dans une activité que nous menée. Je vais prendre deux exemples. Je vais prendre deux types d'exemples. One of the example is for business owners and the other one is for people who currently don't own a business, possibly professionals who are working. The reason why I do that, in my coaching programs, I coach both business owners and I also coach professionals who are going to school, who are working for a company, but they still need that type of leadership guidance to help them. So the first example is, let's say, right, you are a business owner, you have a restaurant, and you got impacted by this unfortunate virus. Currently, you have to change the way you do business. You have to change how many people you can fit in your restaurant. If you used to serve, let's say, 50 people at a time, now because of social distancing or physical distancing, you have to serve only 20 or only 30, half of that. How are you going to manage that setback? It's a barrier. You have two options. You can say, let me think about this. Let's see how we can change this particular situation by bringing a team forward, talk about the situation, see the step that you need to take. You identify the issue, you identify the solutions, and now you have to implement steps to solve that particular barrier. So you already know you will no longer be able to serve 50 people, but you'll be able to serve 20. How are you going to set the chairs in the restaurant so you can get people away from each other to follow the social distancing? Okay, that's one step. The second option you have, you may say, you know what, this is too much trouble for me. I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm just going to let it go and I close my restaurant. I don't think that a true businessman or a true businesswoman would want to take option one, option two, excuse me, to just give up. No. When you are looking to succeed in life, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you will always face barriers. The truth to succeeding is to face your challenge, face your setback, identify the issue, implement solutions to help you. And there are times when you are not able to do it by yourself, you have to seek help. So if you are in a situation where you need help, you cannot give up, you have to seek help. So that's the first example. I'm going to ask you, if you are watching, please share the live with a friend, share with in groups. I truly believe that the information being provided is one that will be beneficial to many. A lot of time, moun nan gen wap pa realize ke li bezwen jan de informasyon sa yo, mais à la longue, li vin realize ke sa se informasyon ke li bezwen, qui est capable d'aider, qui est capable d'utiliser. So, maintenant, s'il vous plaît, si vous avez la live là, que sur Facebook, Twitter ou bien sur YouTube, to please tag someone, share the live with friends, that would be greatly appreciated. So we took our first example. The second example is, if you are someone, if you are a parent, you have kids, the virus hit, school are reopening now, but you have options. You either homeschool your kids, where you do from home, but they are doing online schooling, or you send your kids in person to school. So for many of us, like myself, I chose to keep my son home with me. So our options are, we have to either face the challenges that we will be facing daily with technology issues, with students not focusing issues, all of the different type of issues that we will be facing, or we give up. When it comes to education, you don't have an option to give up. So we have to face that barrier heads on and move forward. So, as I always have questions for you, okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. My questions are, how do you manage challenges? How do you manage challenges? Kijan ou gérer contrariété? Okay? Kijan ou Jere contrariété. If you wish to comment, please, I love when people interact and engage. Please, if you have questions as well, please send your questions. I want to remind you that this is for everyone. I love when people take part by sending questions or answering the questions that I pose daily. So the questions for today are: how do you manage challenges? Creole, Kijan ou gérer contrariété. When you are faced with a situation, how do you manage that? How do you deal with that? All right. So here are a few steps that I will be sharing with you that will help you to overcome barriers. The first step, after you identify the barrier, the challenge, the issue, you have to change your routine or your habit. Après ou fin identifiye kontraryete ya, bien difikilte ya, premier step la se pou identifiye ki sa ki koz kontraryete ya. Et après ou fin identifiye ki sa ki koz kontraryete ya, ou dwe otomatikman pran desisyon ki pou yedo chanje fason ke ou servi kounye ya, pour capable pas refaire même erreur encore ou bien pour même problème non pas arriver. So the first step is to how do you change your current routine or your current habits. Step 2 is to implement tactics to accommodate your situation. Faut qu'on implémenter remède ou bien solution qui peut aller do gérer contrariété. Ça me veut dire par là. So réaliser que machine ou prend panne, ok? Et ça que fait le prend panne, c'est parce que les ont une pièce qui casse la donne ou bien les gagne les besoin oil change, les ont les besoin de tourner, les ont bagage que besoin. Pour capable gérer contrariété ça automatiquement ou pas aller make sure qu'on fait oil change de machine ou changer l'huile ou faire tout service pour besoin pour capable de premièrement résoudre contrariété et puis de tout pour pas quitter même contrariété en niveau ou prendre soin situation. So c'est même genre tout si c'est non business ou bon business something bad happened that stop you, you have to first identify what happened to try your best to fix the problem. And a lot of time when we are fixing the issue, we may need somebody else's help. If you need to see a mechanic, you take your car to a shop. If you need to see a business consultant for your business advice, you seek or hire a business consultant. If you need help to help your kids who are in school, you find a tutor. So whatever the barrier is, you have to identify it and seek for the help with those who are able to help you. Lò fin identifiye kontrariété ou chercher solution et puis tout ou chercher moun qui capable aider résoudre situation. The next step is to have a drive to move forward. Point qui plus important que me faire avec topic jodi, the most important point that I want to make today is when we are faced with barriers, with setbacks, we cannot give up. The first thing is the tendency is often to allow that to slow us down and we lose focus and we no longer pay attention to that project, to that dream. We cannot let that happen. When you are faced with a barrier, it is a time for you to flex your muscles. This is when you are going to think outside of the box, do the best that you can be to change the cycle of the problem you are doing, you are experiencing. You simply cannot let a situation stop you from realizing your dream, right? So have the drive to move forward, no excuses. Si c'est un problème ou gagne, ou jwen yon difficulté pendant pas l'école, ou pas passer un examen, ou bien gon leçon pas comprendre. You don't want to give up. Give up will not let you win, or give up will not get you to the point where you want to be. You have to stay motivated. So when you find that setback, if you fail an exam, you want to study more, you want to focus, you want to look for ways to really help you understand what's going on. So when something else happens, you know exactly how to resolve it. We don't want to give up because we face a difficult situation. We don't want to give up because we experience a setback. If that was the case, a lot of the people that we know who are not successful will never reach where they are. And if you know anyone who have reached a success level, who have been able to overcome issues and barriers, you know for a fact that if you are a businessman, you always have setbacks, you always have a barrier, there is always un contrariété qui rend nou ke ou pa kapab fè so vle fè a dan mouman, but you cannot give up. Ou pa ka bay fag. Fò kou rete avèk an pil tenacité, avec un pile de travail, un pile de pensée pour avancer sur le chemin qu'on veut. So, in other words, no matter what the challenge is, you cannot give up. It's not an option for you to give up. You have to keep going to keep yourself motivated. Make decision and change your routine. So a lot of time things happened and we have to think about what happened. So bon situation qui arrive côté que ou te gen un projet à travailler sur lui et puis soudainement il pas avancé encore ou bien un bon problème ou un contrariété, ça vous fait ou identifier ça qui arrive hein, l'offre identifier ou chercher dans quelle façon que vous allez chercher solution. If the solution is something you can find by hiring someone or getting somebody else involved to help you, you have to do it, right? A lot of time when we have a barrier, when we have a situation, we may not have the answer for ourselves, but there is always someone there waiting to help us. So the one way you are going to manage a barrier, manage a challenge, pour gérer yon contrariété, pour toujours faire succès, faut qu'on gagne ténacité, faut qu'on gagne audacité. Dans la langue parle, nous dit audace, nous pensons au monde qui a bay menti ou bien au monde qui a fait truc. Non, audace vle di nan lang que c'est anglais, que c'est français, l'on moun gen audacité pour li avancer, pour li fon bagay, son moun, même le bon problème devant qui paraît très difficile, li paraît qui j'en pas saute la donne, li premièrement fait être li croit que la réussi. That's the first thing in overcoming barrier. The mindset. You have to set your mind to a level where you said, you know what? No matter how bad this is, I'm going to make it. Ma réussi quand même. Quel que soit vle m'a réussi. Depuis ou dit tête ou que ou a réussi ou envoyer un message positif by tête ou qui dit que n'importe ça bien m'a réussi. Depuis ou fin faire ça, c'est comme si m'ta dit son kay ou bâti et pour fond fondation. Fondation, c'est mot positif, c'est mot positif qui parle d'eau, chercher aide qui vous vite fort avancer puis devant. So, once you are able to look for that help, ou identifier ça qui passe. Pour nous tourner sur le mot audace là, le nous parler de audacity ou bien audacité en créole, il pas veut dire ou tricher ou bien un bagay négatif. Au contraire, son mot qui veut dire qu'on a pile courage, qu'on pile tenace, ou voulez réussir et ou pas faire tout ce capable pour arriver à un point pour capable porter succès dans la vie ou bien porter succès dans la vie par l'autre monde. So think about this word audacity and tenacity when you think about facing a barrier. The other thing that you can do and is very important to do when you are facing a challenge is to take the time to think through what's happening in your surrounding. What type of challenges are you personally experiencing or people around you experiencing? If it's an external barrier, like what we're experiencing with coronavirus, it is global. It's a global issue now. It is an external barrier that no one saw coming, but it's here. How do you manage that? Well, you all know you have to listen to the guidelines. You have to follow the instructions. You have to take care of yourself and your family. You will manage this external barrier and setback in the most possible way to be able to make it. However, if it is an internal barrier, son barrière qui est internal, que vous capable joindre solution pour lui, ou gain plus chance pour capable gérer, contrarier ça, parce que c'est vous-même qui pouvez mettre step in place pour gérer problème là. One of the issues that we have to make sure that we avoid when we are overcoming a barrier, do not make excuses. Don't make any excuses when you experience a setback. If anything, finding the solution is what you need to do. And once you find a solution, you can focus on that. The moment that we make excuses or we take that as a pretext to stop from doing what we were intended to do, we will never see success. We will never be able to say, I was able to finish a project. No one who is successful in life has done it without an issue. Every successful person you know, every successful person you've seen, at some point in life experience a challenge, experience a barrier. Tout le monde qui gagne succès dans vie yo, t'es arrivé à rencontrer une contrariété. Ça qui fait yo réussi dans contrariété, c'est façon yo gérer situation. So know that you are empowered. You have all the tools, you have all the support that you want to give yourself to be able to reach your setback or your barrier. So know that you are in control of your situation and you can make it. The book that I have to share with you today, I always have a book. The book that I will start reading in a couple of weeks is by Angela Duckworth, and it is Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. So, because there will always be setbacks in life, you will always have an issue, you will always find a contrariety situation of a sort. So, it is extremely important that you not only learn about ways to overcome your barriers. So, here's this book. The Power of Passion and Perseverance is a great book by Angela Duckworth that you can read and learn a lot about how to manage challenges. So, son livre qui est très bon, qui est capable d'aider ou apprendre qui genre pour overcome challenges, qui genre pour capable gérer situation, gérer problème. OK? So, c'est ça que je pour nous aujourd'hui. Topic là, c'était how do you manage challenges? How do you overcome barriers? And the first thing that we know in managing challenges is to first identify the issue, find the solutions for it. Do not create excuses, no matter how bad things are. Stick to it, make up a plan, create a plan, and find the support of those around you who is willing and able to assist you. Look for help. Never be ashamed or afraid to reach out to someone if you're experiencing a problem. Look for the help. It's always there. Toujours bon moun qui veille d'eau, sous bon contrariété. Alors, toujours demander aide, toujours chercher moun qui capable d'aider là. Pas quitter ça, pas prendre ça comme un prétexte qui pour décourager ou sur tout, mais rester focus parce que pas grand monde qui fait succès dans la vie qui va rencontrer, qui va joindre une contrariété sur lui. Tout le monde qui fait succès rencontrer un problème dans un point de vie. Alors qu'on est que secret, il n'est pas un secret vraiment, mais secret, c'est lors un problème ou identifier le problème ou chercher une solution pour lui. Faites tout quoi que no matter how bad it is, ou arriver réaliser le problème ou gérer le problème et lors gérer le problème ou faites tout quoi que ou sortir dans soirée. That's the only way to survive. That's the only way to overcome your challenge. That's the only way to reach your success. It was great being here with you today. I hope you find this message to be helpful, to be instrumental, and I will see you guys next week for another episode of Unleash Your Potential. Remember, you have the potential to succeed. The only thing that it takes is discipline, courage, hard work. When I said hard work, not hard work to a point where you are hurting yourself, but smart work and consistency, you will reach your dream. Thanks for being here. You have a great day.